Tonight our special guest will be Dr. Wilma Subra. She's going to talk with us about a little bit about what's been happening over at the Bayou Corne in Louisiana. It looks like there's some threatening things happening over there, and some of those things are definitely linked to what has already happened in the Gulf of Mexico, and more about the petrochemical industry.
Sure. So 2.5 months ago, there was bubbling of natural gas in Bayou Corne and the other bayou areas around there. And this is a very wetland area. And it was in the same area over the Napoleonville salt dome where in 2003, a Dow well had sprung a leak that was a storage cavern well, and it had released all of the material in the cavern into the environment. And the people that lived in the houses over them were sort of like tents. The houses would catch the gas, and it was explosive and toxic. So all of those people had to be relocated. And a lot of them were relocated to the Bayou Corne area, and Bayou Corne had started bubbling 2.5 months ago. So I've been down there dealing with the community, dealing with the situation. And in August the 3rd, a sinkhole developed over the cavern that Texas brine had previously used as a solution mining cavern to provide salt water to the industries on the Mississippi River, the area known as Cancer Alley, and they used this brine to produce chlorine, which is a building block of all the petrochemical plants.
Okay, right here before you are the two methods used to establish brine cavern. This is a process of drilling. You can go with what is considered on the right here is the direct circulation process. In the direct circulation process, the point of direct circulation is to establish the flow of the water to the base of the well to create like such a wider base. And then they absorb the brine as it rises to the top. And that process makes the top a lot narrower. You see it's more of a cinderella type of deal. Well, in reverse circulation, you actually pump the brine or the water more so on the top of the salt dome. Once you're into the salt, right here on the sides, that's way deep in the salt, but that's in the salt. So once you're into the salt, you're pumping it toward more the top. Well, this process allows for a larger roof and more of a narrow bottom. So when all of this brine, if it ever eats out, then it has this sinkhole.
In June of 2011, I noticed sinkholes in my yard. There's lots of them, and it's really bad right now. And I reported it to DNR. And a guy named Billy Corns was there, and he says, never seen anything like that. That doesn't look good. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? He said, well, let me know if it gets worse. It got worse a couple months later. I called him back. That went on for 4 times, and the last time I told him, just get out my yard, don't you ever come back. Because he basically told me that he wasn't going to do anything, and I asked him, so, well, why not? I said, you know, there's one of these plants that's causing this. I mean, it's not a natural occurrence. You know that, I know that. He said, yeah, I know. He said, but, you know, they kind of control things. I was like, what do you mean they kind of, and then he shut up. Basically, he's telling me that the plants, Dow Chemical, Texas brine, all of them are pretty much controlling. They're going to tell you if something's wrong. You can't, DNR can't go to them and say if there's an issue. They have to be up front and say that there's an issue. And with me just being, just me and my wife there, they're not going to do anything. I mean, we're just one family, and they're not going to do anything for us. Well, lo and behold, a year later, Bayou Corne comes up, bubbling and sinkholes and all of this stuff, which I knew this was coming. I mean, you just know, you live there long enough, you see the progression of things, you see the trees dying, you know the smells, the ground sinking, you see people running here and there doing things, you know something's not right. I mean, it's just, I knew it was coming. There was no doubt in my mind. I didn't know how bad it was going to be, but now I know that it's not, this is not something they're going to fix. That sinkhole is going to keep going, and other issues are going to pop up.
basically, from my understanding, what an integrity test is just to determine that a cavern is pressured up and nothing is leaking out of the cavern. You know, so like when it failed that integrity test, they knew they had problems with the cavern and kept it quiet for a year and a half. And what's extremely, you know, upsetting is that when this started on May 30th, and once DNR was you know, engaged in the situation, they kept the information from the people, from our local government. It's outrageous, you know, what happened. Also, I believe Texas Brine was in meetings as well, and neither one disclosed this information.
I have two school-age children, a daughter that's 9 and a son that's 13, and they actually go to school on the other side of the Bayou Corne community, so every morning I have to pass through that area with them, every evening coming back. And of course, obviously, you know, there's concerns about another sinkhole and, you know, the road stability and possibility of explosions, or, you know, from butane that's stored in the area, or natural gas pockets or whatnot.
That they're calling it the diesel smell, but it's more like an asphalt kind of. Yeah. It's a really strong odor. That DEQ says there's nothing that's wrong with that. That's perfectly healthy, which there's not a sane person on this planet that's going to agree to that if they smell that. If you smell that for any extent of time, it bothers you. It gives you a headache, your sinuses and all that stuff. So them saying that it's not a health issue with that, if you smell that constantly, there's no way that's not a health issue.
Well, we called a town hall meeting for tonight. We invited all the officials and agencies to attend. It's been 4 weeks since we had a public meeting and an update from officials and agencies. We were hopeful they would attend. They have refused to attend. All we wanted was to ask questions, to get updates, and get some answers. So now the meeting will basically be just the residents expressing their concerns, their questions, their frustrations. We will have somebody writing down all of these questions. We will submit these questions as formal to OEP, and we expect that these questions will be answered in a timely fashion.
I mean, they need to give us a little word, advice of what's going on, because we are worried sick. I mean, we need to know, because there's people out there that does not know how to work a computer. They don't have no way of finding out. And if they go to bed early, they're not going to hear the news. So we need a way for them to give us the information, what we need, so we don't have to worry so much about our place.
I've been asked the question, is Legal Rec going to be at LA 70, or what do we need to do? No one can say that. Transparency needs to occur in this event and within this community. Someone has to be more accountable than waiting for 12, 6 o'clock, 5:30 news. That's not enough.
I'd like to address the people from the media who are here tonight. Thank you to our local public officials who came here tonight in support of our community. Now, I'm going to address the media that's here. You see what our little community here is going through. You understand, you are here tonight that a meeting was called for us to find out the status of the problems that we're having with this issue in our community, and none came to tell us anything or to update us on anything. So media that's here tonight, please help us. Help us get the word out. Help us show the people that nothing's being done.
are involved in this, why are they not here? They give you a reason for not being here? These are the people that are affected. You're not.
I mean, they just flat out refuse to attend.
Well, I hope
It's
that
plain and simple, they just flat out
this
refuse
meeting
to
around
attend.
here, I hope you make it clear to them that these people would not show up.
Oh, yeah, we're very disappointed. I mean, I see no reason why DNR, DEQ, and all of the people in charge of this situation didn't show up.
I'm not a resident, but I fished in this area back when I was a young man and took my kids back there, and it was beautiful and I enjoyed it. And I'm getting sick of what this state government will do to the citizens to protect these damn oil companies and chemical companies.